During the Great Depression, in 1933, the government declared the United States was in desperate need of jobs, and so their solution to the problem was alphabet soup. America needs jobs, so let's invent a whole bunch of government organizations to try and federally employ as many people as possible. This summarizes President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal.
This Great Depression has grown worse, not less, and we want a new president, cause Hoover's not listening. We're jobless, bankrupt, living in parks in the city. I ate a boot for dinner last night, won't someone give me some pity? Got a job, new deal. NRA gonna get you paid, need a job, new deal. Try the CCC or BWA, you a bank, new deal. Glass-Steagall says you cannot trade you for new deal. For the AAA, get a subsidy. Do you want a new deal, do ya? Do you want a new deal, do ya? Do you want a new deal, do ya? Cause Roosevelt's gonna give it to ya. Cause Franklin, he's gonna give it to ya. Cause FDR's gonna give it to ya. Nothing to fear but fear itself. Cause Roosevelt's got the watch.
It didn't just stop there, though. After that, the government continued to invent new administrations and organizations such as NASA, which was founded in 1958. Recently, after watching the way the government has responded to COVID, I set out to see how different people's trust in these alphabet soup administrations has been affected. Their responses have been very interesting. Check it out.
We just came out of a long season of COVID. Would you say that this has helped you build trust in the government, or has that weakened your trust in the government? Weakened. Would you like to tell me more about that?
I just think they trying to control us.
Yeah. Let's see. When it comes to, has it opened your mind to any other kind of thoughts out there? Like, what about 9/11? Do you think that was an inside job, or do you think that it was as the government told you it was?
I don't think it was an inside job, but I don't know how much we really know about any of that stuff.
Okay. How about with the moon landing? Do you think that was faked, or do you think it actually happened?
I think it happened.
You think it happened? Okay. There's a lot of different like alphabet soup agencies like the FBI, the CIA, and the FDA, all these different alphabet soup agencies. Would you say they're like more or less trustworthy, or kind of iffy on that?
Iffy.
Iffy on that?
Yeah,
okay.
Iffy to untrustworthy.
Does that include NASA?
I don't know.
Don't know? Would you say that one's more trustworthy than the other ones?
I don't know, NASA, you don't know much about them other than they're the ones that do the space thing.
Okay, that was great.
So what's your take on all those questions?
Well, what's my take?
Yes.
I like to listen to a lot of talk radio, and talk radio, you always get the Democrats and they're pointing fingers at the Republicans. Oh, you guys are so corrupt, and the Republicans say the same thing about the Democrats. And so I'm over here in the other corner saying, oh, yeah, they're both corrupt.
Yeah.
They're both corrupt. I don't trust either one. And so
there might be some good ones on each side,
yeah,
but they're getting fewer and fewer.
yeah. So it's definitely worth looking into. So
The
yeah,
Democrats more than the others, I think.
yeah, it's crazy, but yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so coming out of this long season of COVID, would you say that's really helped build your trust in the government, or has it weakened your trust in the government?
Weakened my trust in the government.
Would you care to explain that a little bit more?
Well, I just don't trust what they're saying to us about half the time.
Uh-huh.
They just, it's all politics to them.
Yeah.
They make everything political.
Uh-huh.
And just try and bend it to their direction. And yeah, I'm not afraid of COVID.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I remember My dad, he went and got the vaccine for it all, and it gave him shingles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gave him shingles. It's,
Yeah, there's too many people that don't know very much about it,
yeah,
and they need to educate themselves on both sides of the fence. And that's one thing that's going on right now is they're trying to shut down anybody's even their opinion.
yeah,
Shut it down.
Yeah.
They don't want to allow both sides of the conversation to exist. They just want one side to exist.
yeah. That raises a lot of red flags for me.
Yeah.
Has it made you kind of question some other things going on lately?
Oh, it's opened my eyes to look and see what's going on around the world a little bit more.
Uh-huh.
You know, we get kind of localized and think that what's happening within 500 yards of right here is all that's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on in other parts of the world that people don't know anything about.
Yeah, yeah. With 9/11, do you think that was like an inside job, or do you think it's as the government said it was?
I'm not real big into a lot of conspiracies, but
Okay.
I could be convinced if you show me the evidence. And, you know, it's just like over there, this war that's going on in the Ukraine.
Uh huh.
Some say, oh, those images are staged.
Uh huh.
Well, if the woman who was burying her son out back in her garden spot,
Uh huh.
if that was staged, the woman deserves an Oscar. She's the best actress ever, because I don't believe it was staged. I believe it was real. And some people saying, oh, a lot of it's just staged and phony.
Uh huh.
But
They're sure getting a lot of attention. There's a lot of other wars going on, like in Africa, but they're not getting any kind of attention at all. And so
Yeah.
it's really fascinating how focused they are on just this particular war.
yeah, there's usually both sides to a situation. It's just like the Russian ship that went down in the Black Sea, I believe it was.
Uh huh.
The Russians, their version is, that was a fire on board that got out of control. Well, that's probably the spin they put on it for Pravda,
Yeah.
you know, and the Russian consumer.
Uh-huh.
And they only show half of the picture,
Uh-huh.
you know, and I wasn't there. I don't know whether it was a fire or whether it was hit by a missile, but it went down. They acknowledged that.
Yeah.
So that says a certain amount.
Yeah.
It's just like in World War II. There was a woman that came out of, after the war was over,
Uh-huh.
the Americans grabbed the Germans by the ear and drugged the locals down to the Auschwitz where
Uh-huh.
they were killing the Jews.
Uh-huh.
And on film, this lady that came out said, "We all have been lied to."
Uh huh.
Same thing still going on today.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we're only told a certain amount, and who knows whether it's true or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get to decide for yourself.
Yeah. What do you think would help restore trust in the government more?
It's just like the elections that took place. There's a lot of questions that have been asked about it.
Yeah.
And some people don't think that any of that took place.
Uh huh.
But I tend to be a believer in a lot of it, that shenanigans that took place. They've been going on for hundreds of years. Since the country was founded, there's always been people fooling around with the vote,
Yeah.
you know, one way or another.
Uh-huh.
And so it's not a new thing, but I believe there was shenanigans that took place.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hopefully the truth will someday be, the light of day will shine on the truth.
Yeah. When someone can go and cast a vote in, one county and then just hop one county over and cast another vote, and there's no system to catch that, I think that raises a lot of red flags for me.
Yeah. Forget his name now, but he said a lie will travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
think what was his name? Mark Twain said that.
Mark Twain. Okay. So,
I probably said too much.
oh, you're fine. You're fine. You're great.
You're going to put this on YouTube?
Yeah. It's gonna
Oh,
be
no.
great. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the moon landing? Do you think that actually happened, or do you think that they faked that?
I was just graduated from high school.
Uh-huh.
Those who say it didn't happen are probably belong to the Flat Earth Society also. It happened.
It happened?
Trust me.
Okay. I was looking at some pictures recently of some muddy water streaks that were supposed to be out in the middle of outer space that were on the window of the capsule. And so I'm kind of like, how is this muddy water getting there?
Yeah. Trust me, it happened.
Okay.
You get all kinds of things about, oh, the flag was moving a little bit, or stuff like that.
How do you explain water on the flag?
You say it was water.
There's a big...
Did you actually see that with your own eyes? In person?
No, obviously I didn't go to the moon.
Yeah. It's just like they say over Ukraine, it was staged.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe that stuff was staged. I don't believe this Flat Earth Society about the moon landing not existing.
Okay. That's
You're
okay.
free to believe whatever you want.
Okay.
That's one of the great things. Is you can believe that the Earth is flat, but it kind of goes around. If you get up there high enough, you can see that it's actually round.
Yeah.
But yet there was people swear on a stack of Bibles. There's evidence to show that it's flat. It ain't. It's round.
Okay. So there's a lot of different like alphabet soup agencies. We've got the CDC, and we've got the FBI, the CIA, all these other ones. Would you say they're like more or less trustworthy, or or do you like really doubt a lot of them?
I'm a doubter.
Okay.
Yeah,
but you seem to have like a lot of trust in NASA here, though.
That's true.
Okay. So why do you trust NASA so much more than the CIA?
Before it was NASA, it wasn't even NASA. I trust my ancestors and my own having lived through the occasion and seeing. Yes, you can sit and pick and tweak and say, oh, what about this or that, or the flag waving on the moon, or all these other things. 99, those can all be debunked.
Okay.
If you sit and do the research on them, it's just like UFOs. I wanted to believe pretty bad. I went to a UFO convention. I came away, I said, alone.
Okay.
Now my brother, he has a different view on things. And I guess I'm kind of like those people from Missouri. Show me.
Yeah.
You've got all these cell phones out there. If there's UFOs, take pictures. And they've got pictures of stuff that's unidentified flying objects. But there's no little green man coming out of them. And they just simply have... There's got to be a logical explanation. Some of it they can explain. Some of it they haven't been able to figure out how to explain it. Kind of like your moon stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a logical explanation for all of those things.
Okay.
And you get to choose.
Yeah.
You believe it,
Yeah.
or this, that, or the other. That's the good thing about it. So far, we've still got the ability to choose.
Yeah.
For now, anyway.
Yeah. For now. Yeah. They're censoring a lot of.
I've said way too much.
Oh, you're fine. You're
probably better
doing
not
great.
put this on there. I'll be in jail in no time.
You're fine. Okay. So coming out of this long season of COVID, would you say COVID has strengthened your trust in the government, or weakened it?
Weakened it.
Weakened it. Would you like to explain a little bit more?
Well, I mean, first the vaccinations were supposed to be the end of it, and then there was a second vaccination. Now there's a third vaccination. They shut down the entire economy, the damage they've done in schools, putting masks on kids. I don't think any of it was handled appropriately. Not to minimize the fact that there was a legitimate virus.
Okay, cool. With that weakened sense of the government, would you say it's kind of opened your eyes to some other departments in the government? Like it's created some trust issues with the CDC and the FDA, right? Or the FDA.
Yeah, certainly has created some credibility issues with the CDC. They didn't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. They changed week by week. It was kind of a information and change along the way. Yeah, definitely lost a lot of trust in the government overall in general and how they managed the whole pandemic.
Okay. What do you think the government needs to do to build trust in the government again? You think that's kind of important?
I do think that's important. I think transparency is important. I think being honest with the American people. And I think the journalists, the media, play a big part in that. They keep covering up. You see the White House briefings every day. Nobody's asking the questions that average people like myself would like to ask the government.
So with you, would you say that COVID has weakened your trust in the government, or would you say it's strengthened it? Weakened. Okay. Would you like to tell me a little bit more about that?
Just even with them reporting the numbers, it seemed like you couldn't trust the source no matter where it came from.
They're like $4
and then just the responses from the government, whether Republican or Democrat, just wasn't necessarily the best. Considering we've made it this far without, having to, super mandate vaccines or whatever, all these precautions. And it's like, okay, yes, there's a danger to it, but at the same time, it's nothing more than anything else we've really experienced. At least in this vast majority type thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay. There's something else going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. So that's the CDC. The CDC has got a lot of their hands in the whole COVID situation. We got the FDA in there too. There's a lot of different government organizations that are all into it.
Right.
And so you're kind of showing a lot of distrust with these other alphabet soup administrations, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you distrust the CDC and the FDA, but what about NASA? Do you trust them more than them?
To an extent, yes.
To an extent? Okay, why do you trust NASA more than the CDC and the FDA and them?
It doesn't necessarily matter whether public health is safe or not with them, because with health organizations, healthy people aren't customers, where with NASA it's just, we're a research company. I'm not saying they're 100% honest, I don't know. But as they're just a research organization as opposed to I don't know. I think it's just a kind of how the field plays itself kind of thing.
Okay. Because they're tapping into less of, I guess, the public dollar, but I don't know. Did you ever get vaccinated or anything like that? Okay. Yeah. So that's not really coming out of our own pockets. We're not paying for that. That's still research, isn't it? It's supposed to be research.
What are you asking?
Sorry. It's kind of under the same grounds. The CDC, when they did all of that, making the vaccine, wasn't that supposed to be just as much research as NASA is? I'm kind of trying to distinguish the difference between the kinds of research. You trust NASA's research, but you don't trust the CDC's research.
I think eventually it comes down to just, because eventually it was revealed who was holding stock within those research companies, and we've never trusted those people. And so I think it then becomes a matter of okay, who's pushing? Why is this being researched all of a sudden, kind of thing?
Okay.
Whereas with NASA, they're just trying to continually find new things or discover whatever.
So would you say it's big business? Big business has got their hands a lot more into the CDC than it does with NASA?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting.
My big question for everyone is, why do you trust NASA more than the CDC and FDA? I'm not saying just because NASA is an alphabet soup agency, that makes it corrupt. What I am saying is, as an alphabet soup agency, it is just as corruptible as any of the others. Big business has its fingers just as deep in NASA as it does with the FDA and CDC. Don't be so quick to just instantly trust everything they have to say. This message is brought to you by the Flat Earth Institute of Science. Thank you for watching.